Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, LLC, offers more value than any other good full-service real estate brokerage firm when it comes to the sale of your home. We offer at least 27 things that contribute to your home selling in the least amount of time at the highest price. To receive our free home selling pamphlet, email us at info@brooksanddavis.com or call 713-665-8329. We also assist people who want to purchase homes or who are interested in getting their real estate license. Visit us at www.brooksanddavis.com.
Are you an inspiring entrepreneur? Or maybe you're an entrepreneur looking to take your business to the next level. My name is Larry W. Brooks, and I am the author of Empowering Quotes for the Entrepreneur in You and The Entrepreneur Code. In these two books, I guarantee you there's success secrets that will take your business to the next level. I personally invite you to visit LarryWBrooks.com. Go under the books link and purchase your signed personal copy from myself. You have a great day and have an awesome 2020.
Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Rick Davis. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I urge you to do so at Prime Real Estate Rick. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, you can reach me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Rick. As always, man, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this Thursday in the noon hour. Really exciting episode set up for you all this week, man. If you are in the audience, if you have an interest in real estate investing, if you know anyone who's interested in possibly becoming a real estate investor, learning more about the contracting process, learning more about the home building process, or just need a resource to educate yourself so that when you are ready to make that real estate investment, you know who to go to, this week's episode is for you. As always, I want to introduce my co-host, back holding it down with us in his seat is not only a successful Texas real estate broker, but a multi-time author, serial entrepreneur, the proud proprietor of the Pure Hustle clothing brand, who's going to be holding it down in Nacogdoches this weekend during SFA homecoming. Back here on a Thursday is the Texas real estate king, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. What's going on, brother? Well, you better hold up. Let the applause, right? You better hold up for the applause, bro. Stop playing games with me out here. You know what I'm saying? Let it go. What's happening, man?
Yeah, things are good, man. I ain't got no complaints. Rick, excited about homecoming. You know, I've been, with exceptions of last year and no one in the country having a homecoming, I've been to about 22 straight homecomings.
Nah, look, and I'm glad you mentioned that there was no homecoming last year because I was looking through some of my old pictures, looking through some of our old memories and stories, and I was like, we ain't been to homecoming in 2 years? Yeah. And I was like, did I miss last year or something? But I appreciate you for taking me off the hook.
I think the last time in 2019 was fun.
Oh, my God. Oh, well.
So I don't know if we'll still pick up where we left off at, but it was a lot of work that went into bringing a lot of people back to the yard in 2019. So
I know, man. And I want this to be the unofficial invitation for all lumberjacks worldwide to come to Nacogdoches this weekend and hang out with Mr. Brooks and I at SFA homecoming, man. You pure hustled out today, brother.
Yeah,
see, you know,
the wind got a little cooler.
It's a little cool out there.
Early this morning. I got up early, so when I got up, it was like 50.
Nah, you know, what's so real is that you debut so many of the new designs here on the podcast that I get messages and DMs as far as, yo, Rick, how can I go about getting what you had or what Larry had? Right. And one of the cool things is that you've been very active as far as having more pop-up shops,
no doubt about
being active, being out in the community, bringing the brand to the masses. So I want to let everybody know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Since we going to be at homecoming this weekend on Saturday in Nacogdoches, man.
We tailgate.
We going to tailgate.
We're going to have a pop-up shop at the tailgate. So all my people that know me from, you know, my Club Platinum days, me putting back into the community, come by and support the brand.
And I'd also want to let everyone know, man, we're going to have a lot of cool giveaways, Prime Real Estate Network swag, man. So if we haven't done a good enough job to twist your arm and convince you to jump on 59 for this weekend, man, I'm going to ask you one more time, man, come represent with us, man, because I think it's going to be a great time for all, brother.
Yes, sir.
Okay, man, now, you know, you had a week off from the show, man. Everybody was checking for us. Big shout out to Miss Alicia Jammer for being a great co-host as always holding the seat down for us, man.
I appreciate you so much, Jammer. You have no idea. That's why you're such a dear friend to me. So thank you so much for always just being on point with us. I appreciate it.
Hey, look, man, today's show, man, we're going to talk about how everyone can build an amazing home in every hood of Houston, regardless of where you stay, regardless of what you've seen on the news. Yes, if you own land, if you've inherited land, there are things you can do to add not only a better property or to enhance what's already there, but you can actually build something from scratch. And that's why it's so important that we have this week's guest on the show, Larry. So share with our audience a little bit about this week's guest, bro.
You know, and the thing is what I love about it is he's Houstonian. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Breaded.
North Sider, baby. North Sider, baby. We out here.
And, you know what I found so super impressive is that as you go through his social media, you see how he pour into other people. And not only that, the testimonies of the people that are excited that they do business with him, that they're learning from him, and things like that, man. I need our community, more people that follow our podcast, that follow our YouTube page. I want them to be around like-minded people. This gentleman is like-minded. He's like us. He's trying to do great things. He's trying to change generations. Generational wealth is what we're trying to do.
Absolutely.
And knowledge is power, because we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
So the most important thing about our stage and our platform is bringing people on to express things that we just don't know. We don't know, man. So, you know, today people gonna have an opportunity to learn snippets, gems, but for the most part, you're gonna have to follow this guy and really tie into what he has going on.
And you got to tap in with this,
because we can only give you a little bit today. He's only gonna be able to share a little bit.
We only got him 26 minutes, bro.
Come on, man.
We only got 26
I'm taking
minutes.
some of that right now.
You already
sure they know.
So without any further ado, I want to introduce this week's guest. This fine gentleman is not only a talented home builder, but he is also a renowned business coach and the founder of Houston Vintage Homes. I would like to introduce to the Prime Real Estate Network audience, Mr. CEO Tyron McDaniel. How you doing, brother? You know what it is, man.
Don't leave me hanging.
We got him in the building.
Ty, brother, man, appreciate you, brother, man.
Thank you for having me. It's truly an honor, man, and I'm excited to be here.
You know, Larry and I have been a fan of your movement for a while now, and one of the things that I've been most impressed with is not only your online presence, but the amount of knowledge that you're willing to share on social media.
Sure.
So could you please first talk to our audience about Houston Vintage Homes, and what was your motivation in founding your company and your organization?
You know, so I really got into real estate when I met my wife. I've been married 21 years, and at the time I met her, she had her license.
Oh,
and
that's what's up.
It was something in me that I wanted. You know, I watched the late night infomercials and TV shows and things of that nature back in the day.
Carlton Sheets.
You already know. That boy Carlton, man.
I was one of those people that believed, you know, you could really do what these guys were espousing that you could do. And so when I met my wife, she already had her license. So that kind of was my intro into real estate. And so, you know, I became a loan officer, started doing loans and so on and so forth. She was the agent. And we'd buy houses or two here and there. And at a certain point, I got tired of chasing deals, if you will, and just doing deals anywhere. Actually, when I turned 40 is when I set up Houston Vintage Homes. And the premise was, they say most men make their greatest strides from 40 to 50 because, you know, they start to really focus in. And so for me, I said I'm more about impact versus income. And I always wanted and had a heart for my neighborhood and other neighborhoods like mine. And so I said, I'm going to build a company that's solely focused on our community. And that is why I named it Houston Vintage Homes, because you find three types of products in our neighborhood. You find old dilapidated houses, houses that are what we call functionally obsolete. So the way they were designed 100 years ago is not how families function and live today. So they're really a mediocre product. And then you have vacant lots. And so what we do from a design perspective is borrow from the original architect's intent. So when I see an old home, I ask myself, what did the architect have in mind? Now, how can I embellish that and bring that into the way people live today? And so Houston, focused on Houston inner city, primarily inside the 610 Loop. Vintage, borrowing from the past and bringing that to the future, and then obviously with houses.
Come on now, I love it. That's a great way to tie it. I like that.
No, because one of the things that I noticed when I was reading your website and doing more research there, one of the things that you guys pride yourselves on is building amazing homes in the hood.
Yes, sir.
How often, when you're doing canvassing and driving neighborhoods and checking out prospective build locations, do you meet people there who just have no idea how to renovate a home of that age or what they could possibly do in that neighborhood if they already own lots?
Sure. So the first premise is most people see these old properties and their first thought is, I'm going to tear it down.
Right.
And start new. And what I tell people is, I always look for my advantage. What is the strategic advantage I have in a situation? So when I see an old house, the first thing I see is I can take that property and from a permitting perspective, have a permit now in about a week.
Yeah.
Whereas if I tore it down and built, I'm 4 to 6 months before I ever get to be able to start building.
Yeah.
So first of all, there's a time advantage, and time is associated with money.
No doubt.
So that
especially
means
in
that
real estate,
know.
no doubt about it.
it's
Yep.
easier for me to leverage an existing house and go to a lender and say, hey, lend me the money to update it than it is for me to have a vacant piece of dirt and say, lend me the money to go vertical.
Yeah.
So it's, from a strategic perspective, easier to finance when you take an existing home. And then the last thing is, I'm known by many as the old Ragley house guy. Like when a person get an old Ragley house, they're like, I'm gonna call Tyron, like Erica Badu.
Right.
And so for me, I like those houses because it's easier to finance. I can save myself time, and I can still create a product that's equivalent to new construction. And the last thing I'll share is the reality of the matter is we both got socks that are older than the wood that we're buying today for a house. Versus the wood that's in those houses that were built in 1920, 1930, when it was harvested out of the forest, it was 300-400 years old. So the quality of the material, there's nothing that we manufacture today that rivals what many of these homes are built with.
Built with that. Wow. Okay.
The thing about what you do from not only a builder's perspective that I think is so unique and I want everybody in our audience to take advantage of is the amount of education you're willing to provide, because you've also started a new movement, and I would really hope you would share this with our audience, and it's entitled the Urban Builder School.
Sure.
And it's where you educate those prospective real estate investors and those who are just getting their feet wet on how to best realize their investment goals without being taken advantage of. So could you please share a little bit about that with the audience?
So the genesis of that starts, back in roughly 2003, 2004, when I started to want to build a house, and there was no one that looked like me that I could learn from.
Right.
Number one. So there was no one teaching anything. And then there were a couple people, but it was very difficult to find them. And so I never forgot what it took for me to acquire the knowledge. I had to go out here and make mistakes to the tune of hundreds of thousands, in some cases millions of dollars, to educate myself. And so I always felt like once I acquired the information, one of my confessions used to be make me a conduit for better. For greatness. And so when I get information, I understand it's not for me. I'm just a vessel to get it to other people. And so that was the original genesis. And so once I felt like I'd done enough and built a platform that could speak for me without me having to speak, so I have properties around the city, I wanted to create a way to be able to disseminate that information. And so that was why I created Urban Builder School. And the whole premise was there's several layers to it. First there's empowering individuals like us who are already in real estate to take it to the next level. Because to me, real estate agency is fine, lending is fine, but the top of the food chain is development.
No doubt about it. Yep.
There's nothing to sell or finance unless somebody had a vision and built it first.
Man, that's the truth.
So for me, it was about vertical integration and always being in a position of power for my own personal goals and wealth building.
Yeah.
But likewise, I wanted to provide that to other people. And so with Urban Builder School, our mission, quite simply, is to get more of us empowered, educated, and into our community so that we can begin to develop them.
Yeah.
I think a huge issue is everyone has opinions about the activities of other people. So this is what they're doing in our communities, or this. Well, it's cool to have an opinion, but my philosophy is own something more than an opinion.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
Like, don't just have an opinion about what's going on. What are you doing with your collective dollars, your network, and that opinion? And so my thing is, you can see my opinion because it's over in Sunnyside. It's in 5th Ward. It's in 3rd Ward. It's in Acres Home. Not, because I put my money and my knowledge and education behind that. And so other people want to be able to do that. And so through Urban Builder School, that's one of the tenets that we want to fulfill. The second thing is, it's one thing for us to come into these communities, but then we're bringing people from outside of our communities to help execute what we want to do in our community. So through Urban Builder School, one of the initiatives is to get our kids and young adults engaged into the trades.
Yes.
Come on, man. Stop.
Yeah.
Larry, we talk about that so
all
often.
the time, because I think people fall asleep on that, understanding that trades can pay a large amount of money. But the thing is that sometimes we sleep on that because everybody wants to be at the top of the food chain, and they don't understand the secret to the trades and how much they're needed. Like I think I was talking, this had to be like 3 or 4 years ago when I was at a builder event, and they were already predicting that they were running out of the trades
Most
to
certainly.
actually do it. And so, I mean, that's not even us in our own community,
Most
but just
certainly.
if our kids or people knew
Right.
that this is something that you could do, is not about the way you look.
Right.
You could actually do this. And I think a lot of times stereotypes make people feel
most
like,
certainly.
you got to be, I'll just say it, you got to be Hispanic in
Right.
order to be a trade. That is
Right.
not the. Go
By
ahead.
no
I'm
means.
sorry. Sorry to
No.
interrupt you, but we talk about it so
no.
We talk
often.
about this so
So it's kind of
often,
like
right. Exactly.
passionate because we
Exactly.
like everybody
It's
ain't
a
got to be a
hot
real estate agent. Everybody
Word.
got to be. Everybody ain't got to be the financier. You can literally come from nothing and learn this trade. Go to a
Right.
trade school for this particular thing and build it out. And
I got 2 questions for you on this point. And
Yeah.
both of you have been in real estate for a while. Tell me the last time you met with someone that said, of any nationality, that said they were going to be a plumber, electrician, or a carpenter. When was the last time that happened?
When I met a young person said that was their professional
Anybody,
goal. Never,
young,
anybody,
old,
right?
Anybody.
No, it's been
like
ever.
And I asked this to every real estate professional, and none of us can say, "Oh man, I met this person,
Right.
this person."
Exactly.
That's
Right.
point number one. So that's part of why we have this affordable housing crisis, which we may get into that. But you don't have enough service providers to actually do the work.
That's
So
right.
that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why the houses continue to go up in price. The other point on this is just last week I was talking to my guy Eddie, who does carpet. Okay, Eddie has 14 houses free and clear.
Right.
wow. He's doing
And he
his
This is
does
the
thing.
carpet guy.
He's
Right,
doing
this is
his-
the carpet.
We're not even talking about the plumber who makes more than the carpet guy,
Yeah.
right? We're talking about the carpet guy has 14 houses free and clear.
Yeah.
My landscape.
Stop sleeping on it. Stop sleeping
Here's
on
the
the
other thing.
trades.
I was
I'll tell you.
mentoring a young man, and he was trying to get my electrician to be at his job site at a certain time. And he's like, this guy, he's supposed to be here at 9 o'clock. Now his background is military, and what I said to him, I said, hey, listen, let me have a conversation with you. I say, you make 6 figures doing what you do, and you're high ranking. And when you in your job field, people jump when you say do something. What you don't understand is you are one of 6 or 7 guys that I know this month is paying this guy. My job, average job I pay my electrician is about $6 to $7 grand.
Yeah.
So multiply 6 to 7 grand times 7 people in a month.
Yeah.
He knows he can buy your life multiple times.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you're telling him be here somewhere. You don't understand because he driving a raggedy truck and he show up with dusty jeans and a T-shirt on. You think he works for you. He works with you, not for you.
Man,
This
come
guy
on.
makes about $600,000 a year.
Yeah.
You make $100,000 a year,
Come
but
on,
you're trying to
preach.
big dog him.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So we have an image problem. People don't understand. And this is one of the things we do with our program. Anytime we buy in an area, we try and adopt a school in that area, and we talk about the real estate side, but also talk about the trades because a lot of our kids don't plan on going to school.
Yep.
But if they understood, they could become a carpenter. The average carpenter is bringing in $1,500 to $2,000 a week working for a framing crew.
Yeah.
So that's $100,000 a year income, and without any kind of major education. So there's tremendous opportunities in the trades.
Yeah.
Everything that you've mentioned so far is so refreshing, and it's the kind of conversations Larry and I have in private. Sometimes we have them in more of a smaller group setting.
Right.
But I really appreciate you for being so transparent and candid about some of the thought processes behind how you make decisions on the back end side for our audience, because I don't think that everyone has the luxury of being able to pick someone like yours brain on that level.
Right.
Because a lot of times that would be something like, they would have to invite you out for lunch and we need an hour. So that's the true value of this podcast, and this is what makes it so fulfilling for Larry and I, so I thank you. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, I want to talk to you a little bit about your background before entrepreneurship, what motivated you to take the plunge. And also, something that you mentioned I wouldn't mind you touching on is the development piece, because I think so many new and less seasoned investors don't understand from a development standpoint how many types of products are possible in development. So I would like for you to touch on that when we come back.
No worries.
I want to thank everyone for tuning into the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. We're going to take a short break to hear from our sponsors, but we'll be right back.
I'm serial entrepreneur Larry W. Brooks, and I'd like to personally invite you to take a closer look at the Pure Hustle clothing brand, along with several books that I've authored to take entrepreneurs, small business owners to the next level of their business. So please take a look at shoplwb.com. How do you survive?
Rent to own is not a myth. Turn your rental payment into a down payment with Divvy Homes and the Prime Real Estate Network. All you need to qualify is a 550 minimum FICO score and $40,000 in annual income. If you've worked your current job for at least the last 6 months and you can prove that you have $2,000 in the bank, your dream of home ownership can become a reality. Please direct message, call, or email the Prime Real Estate Network today and learn more about this exciting new program.
Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, we pride ourselves every month in having tons of events. So take a look at this calendar. If you see something you want to be a part of, you see an opportunity to come out and network with realtors, partners, and affiliates of Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, we cordially invite you, and I'll see you at these events. Are you interested in a career in real estate? It may be an inspector, maybe mortgage, maybe even title work. Or maybe you focused in and you want to become a licensed realtor. I'd like to invite you out to Brooks and Davis Real Estate Career Night. So please feel free, take a look at this flyer, hit that QR code, and join us at the Real Estate Career Night. And of course, you can always RSVP at 713-665-8329. See you at the event.
Welcome back to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Rick Davis. If you don't follow me on IG, you can do so at Prime Real Estate Rick. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in Texas, but especially here in Houston, reach out to me directly at Prime Real Estate Rick. For all those aspiring real estate professionals that's currently serving, and those that are in real estate school, if you want to learn more about Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, visit our website at brooksanddavis.com. As always, I want to introduce my co-host, the proud proprietor of the Pure Hustle clothing brand.
Yes, sir.
Also known as the Texas Real Estate King.
Let's
Mr.
go.
Larry W. Brooks, what's going on, brother?
Hey, man, enjoying the episode today, man. It's firing me up, man, because I think we're touching on things that need to be touched on when it comes to not only our community, but the way that we get to wealth and why we sometimes overthink it and prejudge people, man.
We make it harder than it's got to be, Larry.
Make it way harder than it's got to be, man. Come on, man.
Way
I
harder.
come from the community, so you know what I mean? I know, you know, like I'm thinking back to my childhood, and I used to prejudge the people that I didn't know no better. But now that I know, I'm like, I could have got there a whole lot quicker, a year or 2 years, I'm in the game. Yeah.
Hey, look, man, I want to introduce this week's guest. He is a highly successful real estate developer, entrepreneur, and the founder of Houston Vintage Homes, giving nothing but priceless gems out for the audience this week. I want to thank CEO Tyron McDaniel. How you doing, brother?
Coolin', brother. Glad to be here, man. This is awesome.
Look, I want you to know how powerful the first segment was, because I'm sure there's going to be someone in our audience that's going to make a life-changing decision today.
Wow.
That in maybe not 2 years, maybe not 5 years, but in 10 years,
Right.
when they are highly successful and
Right.
they're
Wow.
achieved all their real estate dreams and aspirations, they're going to go back to this
Wow.
day and think about the gentleman with the I Buy Houses t-shirt that put the game
Right.
in their ear. So I want to thank you so much, man,
Thank you for
because
having me.
I know all the time, Larry, myself, real estate is a labor of love,
Right.
and you're more of an educator than you would ever know when you first get the real estate license.
Almost certainly.
And I'm
Most
sure
certainly.
you're always in the same position where you always seem like you're always talking and you're always informing and you're always educating. But I want you to know today, in this venue, your words are not only being soaked up, but it's people in our audience that's going to
Right.
put that game into the streets. So I
beautiful.
want you to know that
That's
what it is, man. So
That's beautiful.
in our first segment, man, we talked about Houston Vintage Homes. We talked about what it is that you do. But I know, like Larry and myself, when people meet you, they meet you now, you're really polished, you have your business, everything lined up. But I want to give our audience an opportunity to learn more about you than they may have known in the time that they met you publicly. So could you speak to what your life was like before you founded your building company, before you decided to take the plunge into entrepreneurship?
Sure. So, I used to drive truck over the road. I come from a truck driving family. My dad was a trucker, so that was my first goal. I want to be like the old man.
Right.
So I went and drove trucks across the country, and driving trucks changed my life because that was where I met myself. because I'm in the cab of
all
the truck.
the times, right?
Yeah, like I'm
absolutely.
I'm driving from, I pick up a load in Laredo and drive to New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I'm in that truck.
You got
and this
22
is before
hours.
social media. Yeah, ain't no social media. And so,
that says a lot though, because I think social media does do a thing of stealing a lot of time away from us. But you got
it's a huge
time
distraction.
to
I
think.
see what you're saying.
it,
Right.
it cripples your mental power and your thinking capability.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't spend, that's why meditation is so huge in this day and age, because very seldom do people get at one with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of times we don't even know who we are. We're 40, 50 years old. You ask a person, what are you passionate about? And they give you that blank stare. Look, I don't know. Or they give you a surface level answer, right? So in that truck, I got a chance to meet myself, and I read a book. I picked it up in Tennessee, and it changed my life. It talked about how Albert Einstein used about 7 to 9% of his brain power. The average person uses about 4 to 5% at best. So at that moment, I recognized we were walking idiots. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, I started reading voraciously. Now, I was always a reader as a kid. When I was a kid, my mom would call me because I'm at the magazine rack reading. She's, boy, let's go. Mm-hmm. So I've always been a reader, but that gave me a quantifiable reason to read because I understood I couldn't hurt this 6 to 8 inches of real estate right here. Like the more I put into it, the better I could get. So I just started reading intently, and that was where the goal to invest in stocks or real estate and stuff first birth is through reading books. When I was driving truck, and long story short, like I said, I met my wife during the same time period, and she and a best friend of mine, my best friend wanted to own a mortgage company, which I didn't know what that was at the time. When he explained they provided finance, and I was like, the epiphany I got was, if I understand the finance, I could buy, build, or sell anything I want. So at 3620 Wood Chase, which is around the corner from here, in his living room, low efficiency, we set up a company called the Mortgage Outlet, and he got me a job working for a subprime mortgage broker as a secretary, answering the fax machine at the phone.
Old school fax machine.
Like they myself, the real grades right here.
You say the real ones.
So that was my, I went to college for a semester. I quituated. I ain't graduated. I quituated. So I did a good semester, and had fun, and then because my aspiration was really just to go into business. I always had that desire, is just to go into business, and I wasn't patient enough to go through college. I should have finished. I had the opportunity to, but sometimes you just make the wrong decision. And so long story short, from there, I became a loan officer, and then we just kind of started, playing around, buy a house or two here or there.
No, and see, you already mentioned to our audience that you come from a family of truck drivers. I think one of the things that children who grow up in that household that they may undervalue at the time is that you are living and surrounded by entrepreneurs and business owners on an everyday, all-day basis. And for gentlemen who are professional truck drivers, they actually know they only eat with their kids.
That's it.
There is no money for sitting on the couch. So having that experience, how does being surrounded by that type of energy young, how does that affect how you conduct your business now as an adult running your own show?
So what it is, man, Rick, is this unconscious competence. See, I wasn't conscious of those lessons while they were happening. In retrospect, I can appreciate them now. And so those things guided me kind of serendipitously, but unconsciously. So when I look back now, when I travel now, I have points of reference from when I was a kid. Oh, my dad brought me to Montana. Oh, my old man took me to L.A. Oh, I remember being in Phoenix and going to old Tucson and all these different things. So now I see them differently. And now when I travel through these same areas from a real estate lens, it helps me because I have a point of reference. I was here 20, 30 years ago. Wow. You follow me? So now when we're looking at how areas gentrify, bringing this back to a real estate conversation, I understand how areas grow and develop, not because I study real estate, but because I visited these areas early in my life, and now I can compare what they look like now. I was in New York, and when I was 13 years old, I went to New York. I was just in New York again. And last time I was there, went specifically to study gentrification, displacement, and some other things. So it's been very impactful to have all those lessons and growing up in a household like that.
It's just crazy because it's just so much that we could fit into a conversation with you because I'm gonna tell you, because right now, and you know how it is in mass media, they talk about gentrification, they talk about real estate development, especially in Houston. They're talking about everything that's happening in opportunity zones. So someone like yourself that is offering to provide education for those who are seeking that knowledge, I think is invaluable. So please, one last time for everybody in our audience, please share all your contact information and how they can get in contact.
The best way to reach me is on Instagram, Houston Vintage Homes. We also have a design firm that's Urban Vintage Design. So if you check us out on Instagram, we're on Twitter as well, Tyron McDaniel, the Urban CEO. So between Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to find me.
Represent. And of course, we got to let everybody know, go to your IG, tap in on your link tree, get your I Buy Houses team. No, we going to sell some merch, sell some swag. We getting it all going. So I want to thank you so much, Mr. McDaniel, for sitting in, man. I think our audience is going to gain so much from this conversation. And for those people who were just constantly yearning for this type of information, I hope they're edified by this, man.
Right.
Certainly. And man, if we at the point of the show, even though we've been talking about it all episode, I don't really got to ask.
I be in East Texas.
What's going on this week?
I'm in East Texas.
One last bat signal, one last call to action for every lumberjack in the world, straight from the lips of the Texas Real Estate King. Please invite everybody out.
The game starts at 1 p.m. on Saturday. You need to be there early tailgating. Get there by 10 or 11 tailgating. We'll have an amazing time. There's some big things that have taken place at Stephen F. Austin. Of course, you guys sits on the board. So, the organization has made some great strides to make things much better, much safer, and fun. So be out there.
And I appreciate Larry for being so politically correct and professional. I'm big. Look, all my East Texas partners, you need to be there. Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, Beaumont, everybody, man. I want to see a lot of people from the 90s, early 2000s. Why not? Track Dogs represent, Noops represent, man. We're going to be out there. So everyone, until next Thursday, in the meantime, in between time, if you need anything, I'm just a call, text, email, or DM away. I want to thank everyone for tuning into the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. On behalf of myself, Rick Davis, and the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks, until next week, everyone out there, be safe and be blessed.